Again to Amir's Tech YouTube channel. It's Amir Iqbal Khan, certified instructor of Cisco. Today in this lecture, I'm gonna talk about some protocols used in daily life networking scenarios. The protocols will be DTP, VTP, EtherChannel, SVI, and HSRP, and I will be talking about this and meanwhile configuring it. So I've noted something here, the whole procedure and its steps. I will go through the first step and the second step and the same for all the steps one by one. So I have two switches in this topology. These two switches belongs to layer 3. They are simply layer 3 switches. We have here 4 switches, which is access layer switch 1, switch 2, switch 3, and switch 4. So each switch is connected to 2 end hosts here, as you can see, and different VLANs of 10, 20, 30, and VLAN 40. Each VLAN for Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, HR, and IT with different IP addresses. This VLAN 10 requires IP address of 10.110, 20.110, 30.110 for VLAN 30, and 40.110 for VLAN 40. The virtual gateways will be 10.1.100, 20.1.100, 30.1.100, and 40.1.100. The first step is done by me before, prior to recording this video. As you can see, 10.1.1.1 and 10.1.100. You can see the second PC here in the VLAN 10, 10.1.1.2, 10.1.100. And this PC also 21.1.1, 21.100. This one too, you can note these one by one. I assigned all the IP addresses in order to save your time. So I will go into the second step, which is configuring VTP. So I will configure VTP on all switches, as it is not required, mandatory to configure them, but I will configure them for the best practice. VTP domain, let's say amir.com. Exit. I will do the same thing for distribution layer switch of second switch. VTP domain amir.com. To show VTP status, you can see amir.com VTP domain name. Here I have versions, version 1 and version 2. I have modes as transparent mode, client mode, and server mode. I can select all these, and I'll go for this too, VTP domain amir.com. But I will not go in much details. So I will make a dedicated video for any of these protocols. So you can configure them based on your own topology and configurations. So prior to assigning this VTP, let's see that is that synchronized or not. Now it's not synchronized. So let's configure VTP domain amir.com to show VTP status. You can see amir.com. I will go into the third step, which is configuring trunk ports. Conf-T interface range of pass Ethernet 0/3 up to 4 switch port mode trunk. I'll exit this. We'll go to switch number 2. Interface range pass Ethernet 0/3 up to 4 switch port mode trunk. I'll go into switch number 3. switch port mode trunk. So I did the trunk configuration. So I will move towards step 4, access ports, interface range, fast Ethernet 0/1 up to 2, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 10. And the name of the VLAN 10 is, as I have written it before, it's Chancellor VLAN interface range 0/1 to 2, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. VLAN 20's name will be V Chancellor, the Vice Chancellors. Let's do the same thing on switch number 3, 0/1 up to 2. Let's do the same thing on switch number 4. Interface range pass Ethernet 0/1 up to 2, switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 40. The name, oh sorry, the name of the VLAN 40 will be IT. So let's verify the VTP, because VTP is basic and initial purpose is to propagate all the VLANs between the switches. So I configured access ports and VLANs each on a separate switch. So let's check each switch whether it has propagated the VLANs or not. So let's see, do show VLAN brief. You can see I just uh, created one VLAN which was VLAN 40, and it propagated these switches propagated their VLANs to this switches. As you can see, IT, HR, and Vice Chancellor, and along with the chancellors, are added into these uh, table. So let's verify it here. Do show VLAN brief. Yeah, it's propagated. Yeah. So guys, let's move to the 5th step, which is configuring the Ether channel. For Ether channel, I have to configure Ether channel on my L3 switch. Configure interface range. I will select the range which is from pass Ethernet 0/5 up to 8. No switch port. Channel group 10 mode on. No shutdown. Exit. I will do the same thing on the switch number 2 of L3. Conf T interface range fast Ethernet 0/5 up to 8. No switch port. Channel group 10 mode on. No shutdown. Exit. So let's assign IP addresses to both of them on the port 10. Do show IP interface brief. As you can see, friends, I have the port channel 10 here. No IP assigned. Let's assign IP address to it. Interface P10, IP address 11.1.1.1 with subnet mask. Exit this. Let's come into the distribution layer switch, the second switch. Interface P10, IP address 11.1.1.2 with the subnet mask. Yeah, this was all about the Ether channel in this topology. So let's move into the 6th step, which is configuring the SVI. So for SVI, we have to configure the SVI on these two switches, which are layer 3 switches, because when we want to configure SVI, we are making communication, we are establishing communication among different VLANs. So in order to communicate different VLANs to each other, we have to use SVI in this topology. So let's do this for SVI. So prior to configuring that, make sure that IP routing is enabled on L3 switch, because if this is not enabled, the layer 3 switch will not function at layer 3. So let's select interface VLAN 10, no shutdown, IP address 10.1.1. Let's say 254. I will choose 10.1.1.254 for this and 253 for the other switch. With subnet mask, yes, interface VLAN 20, IP address 20.1.1.1.254, interface VLAN 30, IP address interface VLAN 40, IP address. Let's do the same thing for second switch. Interface VLAN 20, IP address 21.1.253, interface VLAN 30, IP address interface VLAN 40, IP address 41.1.253, no shutdown, exit, IP routing, exit. So I did the sixth step and I will go for the seventh step, which is hot standby routing protocol. So I will do the same. I will do the seventh step, which is configuring the HSRP on the distribution layer switch. So I will go into the first step. I will write interface VLAN 10 standby 10 IP address of 10.1.1.100. So make sure that any default gateway you assign to an end host in a VLAN, so you have to write that, you have to assign that here in the hot standby routing protocol with the HSRP. So as I have selected 10.1.100, I will do the same thing here. Because if these two is in a mismatch, the HSRP will not be implemented. So I will do the same thing for interface VLAN 20 standby 10 IP 21.1.100 exit interface VLAN 30 standby 10 IP 30.1.1.100 exit interface VLAN 40 standby 10. The number of the standby should be matching on all the configuration between two switches. So let's do the same thing here on the second switch. So on the second switch, I will do the same thing. Interface VLAN 40 standby 10 IP 40.1.100 exit. And as you can see, this switch will be in standby mode because this switch is currently in active mode. So any switch which is in active mode, the opposite switch, the other switch which is directly connected to this one will be in the standby mode, because if this my friend's HSRP and specifically the ether channel is used for redundancy. So these two will not perform at the same time, but whenever one of these two switches fails or any issue happens to them, the other switch will be active. The switch which is standby now will be active when this switch is burned or failed. So let's check the configuration of the HSRP show standby. As you can see, for the switch 2, I have all the states in standby. For the VLAN 10, it's standby. For VLAN 20, it's also standby. For VLAN 30, it's standby. For VLAN 40, it's also standby. So if I check the same thing on the switch number 1, L3 switch number 1, to show standby, you can see all the interfaces for the VLANs will be acquiring the state active, because this is the active switch at the moment. State is active for VLAN 20, state is active for VLAN 30, and also for VLAN 40 it's active. So we did the HSRP. Now let's test the reachability between different VLANs. So let's test. I will test two things. First of all, I will ping any PC to its default gateway, which in this case it's 411100. You can see the pings in the replays from the pings are coming. Ping 10111. Let's see if different VLANs communicate at the moment. Yeah, as you can see, guys, different VLANs communicates. Let's check this for the VLAN 20, whether we are getting responses from VLAN 20. Yeah, you can see we have the replies from VLAN 20. I will do another ping 30.1100. Yeah, guys, I will also ping the 254 IP address which I assigned on the distribution layer switch. So guys, this was the lab regarding DTP, VTP, Ether channel, SVI and HSRP. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any feedback, so